Hi everyone, Paul Akers, and welcome to the Lean Roundtable. So what is the Lean Roundtable? Basically, it's 7 of my close friends who are all lean advocates and are lean maniacs, basically like me. And we decided to get together with Greg Glebe's prompting, who's one of our members. And he said, let's get together and talk once a month so we could support each other and learn from one another. I think that would be a really good idea. And I said, hey, that's great, Greg, let's do it. So we decided to get together with all 8 of us. And we talk about issues. We talk about the issues we're having, the success stories and the failures and our struggles. And we just want to make it available to everybody so maybe you could learn from some of the things we're doing. So welcome to our family. And I just want to introduce everyone real quick so you know who all the people are that you're going to be listening to. We'll start in Germany. Michael Althoff owns Yellow Tools, a product development company specializing in innovative tools for the professional sign maker. His company's worldwide. Michael's a maniac with lean, and he's a maniac person anyways. He's a lot of fun. And then from there, we're going to go over to Ashley Bailey, and Ashley's absolutely awesome. Klime-Ezee. What Klime-Ezee does is they make industrial step ladders, and Ashley has been doing lean for about 1.5 years and is doing a fantastic job. An incredibly intelligent guy, and just really gets lean and is doing a fabulous work with it as well. And then from there, we go over to Bruce Ennens in Canada, and Bruce is a consultant that works with a lot of different companies, and he's just awesome as well and has great results. Big companies, small companies, doesn't matter. Bruce has been able to have a profound impact by implementing a simple version of lean and just making it fun. That's one thing you'll know about Bruce, is he knows how to make lean a lot of fun. And then we go down to PA, Glenn Bostack, and Glenn is the owner and president of SnapCab. They remodeled the interior of elevator systems. And Glenn's been doing lean for a long time, and he's joined our group, and he has a lot of good insights as well. Then we go over to Greg Glebe, who actually initiated this whole thing, and that's Xylem Design. And Xylem Design specializes in pedestals for Tiffany's and museums and things like that. He has a really cool woodworking business and a great dynamic organization. I visited there. I've got a couple videos that I've done on his company, and they're just really pretty over the top. And Greg is a dynamic guy as well. And then Lauren Jones is his right-hand person, and Lauren is an incredible lean advocate. I love Lauren, and we call him LJ, and he's part of our group, and he's just a great contributor, and you're going to learn a lot from listening to LJ and the way he's making lean work at Xylem Design as well. And then we go up to FastCap, my company, a product development company for woodworkers for the past 14, 15 years. We've been making innovative products for woodworkers. And then we're going to go down to Nick Cosell down at Walters & Wolff, and they make curtain walls, or all the glass that goes on the outside of high-rises. About 900 union employees, big company. Nick's the COO, and he's doing a fantastic job of implementing lean. There aren't a lot of people that can pull it off with 900 employees. It's easy to pull it off with companies like mine, 40 or 50 people. But when you go to 900, it's a little different ballgame, a little different dynamics, and Nick has proven that it can be done and be done well, and you could have a lot of fun doing it at the same time. So Nick is a great contributor and has a lot to offer. Then we go over to Texas, Ron Pereira from Gemba Academy. Ron has been a longtime friend of mine, and we've watched his videos here at FastCap and used them as teaching and training tools to elevate our game in the lean world. And Ron is a fabulous human being, and you're going to love having him a part of the team as well, and he's got a lot of great insights. So that basically rounds out who you're going to be listening to. If everything goes right, every month we're going to meet together on a Skype video conference call. And remember, don't expect anything glossy or slick, because we're not going to do that. I'm just going to basically have an intro, introduce the subject, and then we're going to get going. So this week, the subject is, what are you struggling with? What is difficult about lean? Where are the problems that you're having? And we're going to talk about that in today's Lean Roundtable. So enjoy to our first installment of the Lean Roundtable. So let's start off right away and jump right into it. Ashley, I'm going to let you go first. What drives you crazy? What are you struggling with lean? What is it? We're kind of a little bit taking the robe off right now and saying, where are the problems? Because I have them, and I can't wait to share mine. Go ahead, Ashley.
Okay, so the biggest thing we've had over the past sort of 6 weeks, because we've come up to the 2-year mark of lean now, so we've been re-evaluating ourselves, and the biggest problem over the last 6 weeks is been re-engaging people. So we've had new people join, and we feel that we've probably not engaged them as well as the people that have seen us through the journey so far. So we've been back to basics with our morning meeting and things, but still we've then identified changes in our culture where it's not at the level we would like it to be, with the level of respect between people, and the engagement in the morning meeting, and just the energy is not the level we'd like it to. We feel we should be at by this stage. And the big game changer to that was literally last week when I took one of my main people to Michael's place at Yellow Tools, who's our production supervisor. And he's come back a changed man. It was 2 days at Michael's, and seeing the culture that's happening during Michael's meeting and his company, the guy just suddenly saw the bigger picture. He wasn't seeing just his production element anymore. He saw the whole company. So he appreciated my vision of and my frustrations of what I was trying to be at.
So you're saying, number one, new people catching the vision.
Yeah.
And then was the guy that you took to Germany, was he a new guy or an old guy?
Old guy. He's been with me 10 years.
But he didn't have your heightened vision. So you have two problems. You have the new people capturing the vision and the existing people having your heightened vision, and you accomplish that by taking them to see Michael.
Yes. Yeah, 1,000%. And then seeing Michael completely open the guy's eyes. The guy hadn't even flown before. So, yeah, if nothing else, that was an experience.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just seeing it, all of a sudden it was, wow, yeah, I get what you're trying to tell me now.
So now, then what are you going to do about the new people? Have you got any thoughts on how to get the new people engaged at a higher level?
The difference, well, one of the differences, we're now employing people based on their personality, I guess, and attitude rather than the skills. That's been a bit of a shift. So we're hoping we're generating better people because we're looking for another 3 people right now. But there's still that frustration. Okay, I've got one guy on board, and what I need now is how do I help him communicate that to his colleagues? I can't just sit the whole company, take everybody to Michael's and expand everybody's mind in one go, and everybody will get it at different levels. But because this guy's got it so well, how do I then help him? My job now is to help him as a leader to then communicate that to everybody else. And he wasn't, I'd say, he's the best at communicating. That was one of the issues, and that's why I took him to see Michael, so that we could sort of bond over a couple of days and get him to talk to me.
Okay, so at the end of the day, what you said is you spent more time training him, and you feel like you've made some progress as a result of an investment in training.
Yes, definitely.
I might make one comment interesting about that. We just got back from the Global Leadership Summit, over 100,000 people worldwide. And one of the things Bill Hybels said, which was so interesting, that there were 3 levels of training people. And he said, shockingly enough, the worst way or the least effective way to train someone is to take them to a conference, the very conference that we were at. The next way is to put them in, a formal training, but the best way is for one-on-one, for the owner, the president, for someone to be intimately involved with training, nurturing, and culture, training them, and that's the most effective way to convey and build leadership.
Yeah,
I love that conference, by the way, you guys. It was fabulous.
Yeah, I cannot recommend it to all of you. I don't want to sidetrack, but the Global Leadership Summit once a year is world-class. It's the best in the world, and Greg and I both went. It's incredible.
So yes, that was my biggest frustration. And if you'd have had this call last week, it would still be my biggest frustration. But I felt that we've chipped a little piece off that right now.
Good.
But my next frustration will be how I, as a owner, help and continue that momentum that he's got.
Okay. Now let's go to the next person. Greg, go ahead. What's your biggest problem? What's the thing that really drives you crazy about lean, or just what you're doing?
I think there's some similar things there with Ashley, but I'd say the challenge for me personally is to try to wean myself from being the, as I said last time actually, being the answer guy and being more of the question guy, or even on a higher level, operating from somewhere where people are actually just doing that by different means. So LJ and I had a nice chat about that last night, but the question is, can I ask an engaging question without always having an answer in mind? Kind of have a blank, just to really be present with them, and so that's something I made the.
So how do you do that, Greg?
Well, where I am right now, you guys, you just touched on it with what Bill Hybels was talking about, which is the most important thing for our company is organizational health, and the best thing that I can do as a leader is to spend complete focused time on every employee and really give them the true ear that I need to give them. And so that is that's my WIG, my wildly important goal, is to take everybody out to lunch on a one-to-one cycle and just sit down and really be present with these guys, because when they feel safe and recognized, they'll open up. They'll join the culture. So that's really what we're doing. And LJ's done some great things systematically to improve our lean meetings. And Ashley and LJ and I were talking about it. We'd share that with you guys anytime it's coming along. So that's it.
That's really, I like it. I like what both of you guys said. I think it's fascinating. Okay, Lauren, why don't we go? We'll just transition right into you.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Paul. I think, in most occasions, people are their own worst enemy when things go wrong. So I find myself having to really focus on having the discipline to carry out the things that I'm asking others to do. So I'm asking everybody to be engaged. I'm asking everybody to really follow the protocol of what our daily operations are, which is, making pedestals. But at the same time, I want everybody to continuously engage in being a lean person in our company, because and so the struggle for me and the thing is, I have to first be that way myself, and I first have to, practice what I preach.
Give me an example. What is? I want to give me a little bit of an example.
Well, an example would be working on the floor, and because that's part of my job is to not, I'm operations guy here, but I also occasionally, because I'm a woodworker, am required to go out and make stuff again. And when that happens, I have to remember that the things that I'm asking of the guys on the floor, like, hey, this workstation needs to be, it needs to be 3S'd. You need to be making improvements every day. I need to be doing that. Yeah. I need to be leading by example, because if I'm just telling people to be lean and, hey, I'm telling, that's push. And so what I need to continuously do is encourage pull, and I need to continuously encourage flow.
But are you feeling, LJ, that you're not setting that example? Because my impression of you is that you are always improving, you are always 3S'ing, or am I wrong?
No, you're right. I am, but it's not an automatic thing. I don't wake up in the morning and it's like, hey, here I go. I'm going to 3S my bathroom and then my kitchen and then go to work. I don't think anybody's typically 100% wired for that all the time. And so the biggest struggle is just continuously pushing myself. I got to keep pushing myself to practice what I preach.
Okay, so the bottom line is your biggest struggle is making sure you're consistent with what your message is of lean.
Correct. And I wouldn't say it's a roadblock necessarily. I think I'm being successful at what I'm doing.
Right, but this is your biggest issue.
Yeah, and a smaller issue is, again, finding the right kind of people. I mean, the other one is just like hiring the right kind of people who can also come in and have that same, what it is, it's the Hansei of how am I going to reflect on my improvements? How am I going to reflect on what I can do better and make and continuously push myself to be better? And I want those kind of people around me.
Right. So here we go. So I just want to do a quick recap. Ashley, your thing is you've got new people capturing the vision and existing longtime employees understanding your high-level vision. Greg, your ability to connect on a very personal way with people on a daily basis. LJ, setting a consistent example on a daily basis from the moment you wake up on what lean's supposed to look like. Did I summarize that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Michael, it's all yours.
It's all mine, yeah. Can you guys hear me good?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Perfect. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so since my English is not that good, I wrote it down a little bit. So my biggest issue is, of course, having lean present at each second. Means changing people from I did this my entire life so far into is this value added for my customer? Is he willing to pay what I'm doing right now, this second? With other words, fighting someone else's one weaker self. So an unsupervised lean would be super cool. I mean, if I'm around, or if some of my
unsupervised lean, you called it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
the unsupervised lean is if they hide or if they somewhere in their corner at their booth in their shop floor. Those guys of you who went to my shop know that we are in a super old building from 1800 something, and it's the whole building setup is not lean at all, but I love it. It's the atmosphere, and I don't want to change it. To be honest, but. They are hiding in spots and in corners, and I don't, be around there. And I want them to see and feel waste every single second. So if I go from one section to the other, I see, sometimes I see some paper chips lying around and this really bugs me because I know, hey, they don't get it. They didn't get it. Last night I opened the drawer of my kitchen and they put everything perfectly lean in the cabinet, but they put a smaller glass up on a bigger glass. So I grabbed the glass upside down. I grabbed the glass, and guess what happened? The smaller glass fall down and burst in 1,000 pieces. And I knew this person who put it in, he or she didn't have it. So yeah, that's my
Michael,
biggest frustration.
I got to interrupt you. You're one sick puppy. If that's the only problem you have, you are one sick puppy, baby.
Yeah, but it's the way I am. So
Yeah.
deal with it.
Obsessive compulsive is actually a Germanic word.
Why did you fire that person, Michael? Oh, he put the wrong glass on top of the other one.
No.
That is not your song.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And it's the little things which proves that the message didn't went all the way through. They got it. I mean, hey, Ashley, help me. My company is on a good way, right?
Right. That was phenomenal.
So
I've been there. It's phenomenal.
But you guys asked me about my biggest frustration, and the little things show as an indicator for me that not all of them have it all the time. And then LJ, for your biggest frustration, we should be a part of it. We should not the lead of it. We should be a part of it. So we all have our weak days where we're not lean at all. I mean, look at my glove box in my car. It's like, oh gosh. So, but then sometimes they push me or they pull me or they support me. And that's so cool. If they remind me, hey, Michael, you taught me to be lean and you're not, let me help you how to do it. And hey, that is something which gives you goosebumps, to be honest.
Okay, awesome. I get it. So consistency with lean in the little things, when in the hidden corners that you see people are really getting the lean message.
Yeah, and the unsupervised lean, yes.
The unsupervised lean, I like that a lot.
And
Nick,
Paul,
go ahead.
If I may,
yes.
I remember Leanne said something really interesting too. She said the ninth waste is hiding. Or maybe you said that too. I think there's something to that where things go away into a little corner, and it's like it's out of sight, out of mind. We don't have to worry about it, but you do.
Yeah, I actually I have a specific place underneath my desk when you guys come here. It's a plastic bin, and all my crap goes in, and that's my hiding place that I want to clear my desk. If somebody comes in, I don't want them to see how bad Paul really is. Everything goes in that little container down below. It's painful, but in reality, I think it's actually a good thing. I think everyone should have one crap bin that they throw everything in. So they keep everything else dialed in, but then you have one place you can just throw crap and get rid of it. That's my own take, and then eventually go through it, but that's me.
I have a crap room. I call it the server room.
Yeah, that's fine. We all have it. We all have it. We have to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
Nick, I'm going to let you go next, and then Glenn. Michael needs to do what?
Michael needs to clean his glove box.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, his bathroom. Hey, and Ron, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Good. So just a little warning, if you guys invite Ron, he was going to come do that Gemba Live here, and he sent me a list, and it was like, I looked at it and I go, oh, I cannot handle this right now. So if Ron's going to come, be prepared to do a little more work. So
the list.
I'd still love to do that with you someday, Ron, as soon as we...
And we'll let you talk about that, Ron, too, at the end. We'll let you kind of talk about that. That'd be great. Go ahead, Nick.
So, let's see, my greatest frustration. Yeah, I tried to jot down some notes too. And it ended up being a lot of frustration. So I'm trying to pick the top one. So, besides besides having a second job as you're trying to transform your company into lean.
So your first job is your job, and your second job is lean, or vice versa. Is that what you're saying, Nick?
Yeah. All right. They're both equally as important. So
interesting. I never had it described like that.
So I mean, definitely, yeah. There's not enough time in the day when you have two full-time jobs. So definitely, I'd like to do a lot more, but just run out of time. So, and I think as we continue to be lean and eliminate waste, it only improves that. But boy, getting there is quite a challenge. But I think as far as our transformation, I think one of the greatest difficulties is sustaining a change or an improvement that has been made. People are very quick to kind of revert to form. So it's been agonizing to not be able to sustain some of the changes without having to, go out there. So, I mean, what we've tried to do with that is the Gemba walks, trying to get out and being able to go to where we've made the improvements and the changes, and try to make sure that we have that discipline. I mean, Lauren, you said it real well with the that use the discipline word. I think that lack of discipline is a huge challenge because people, it takes work to implement change. It takes discipline, and it takes that deliberate practice, and without it, the change just kind of reverts. So I think that's having visual controls and having the ability to go out there and see what's happening and be able to try to sustain it is difficult.
Could you give me an example, Nick, of something that you see happen on sustainability of a particular process that's been improved? Like you walk out in the shop and you see, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing that again.
Yeah. Well, besides people putting the wrong size glasses on top of each other. Yeah. Yeah. We'll go out to the shop and we'll we started implementing tack time. So between each of the process steps and our assembly line for our unitized curtain wall, we're having a tack time, and we're trying to measure that so that we can determine how to level that workflow and how to move people up and down the line. So when a unit moves from one station to the next station, we have boards up. They're just supposed to write the time real quick so that we can go back there. And I walk out there and I've seen 4 units move through the line, and there's no one's, we got a time written down between station 1 and 2, nothing between 3 and 4, half the time between 4 and 5. So.
And why do you think, Nick, why do you think that happens?
I think
just for Greg's purposes, I don't have the answer, Greg, just so you know.
Hey, thanks, Paul.
He was listening.
I had 3, just in case you didn't have any.
I don't have an answer. I'm just curious. Why do you think it happens, Nick?
I think that it takes a while. Discipline is something that's not it's not natural to a lot of people. I mean, so and I think lean, a huge component of it is your own personal responsibility and personal discipline. And Michael, I forgot what you used, unsupervised lean, I think was the term.
Yes, I love this.
Yeah, but it's very difficult if everyone doesn't have the discipline to think lean and be lean and have that deliberate practice of doing what it was that we agreed we were going to do.
So Nick, I think what I want to just comment here. So you said discipline is not common for most people, I would say, is what you said, correct?
I'm beginning to believe that.
And then lean, on the other hand, is a philosophy of pretty high discipline.
Absolutely.
So now we have to take these people who are traditionally undisciplined and teach them discipline in order to be effective or consistent at lean. Is that fair?
You nailed it. Absolutely.
Okay, very interesting. I mean, the conversation's incredible. I'm learning a lot just thinking through all these issues. Okay, that was excellent, Nick. Can go ahead, Michael. You had a comment, and then we're going to go to the next Glenn.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. You're talking about discipline, Nick, and discipline always sounds so harsh and strong. I keep it this way. I mean, it is all about energy, right? Going A or B is is energy. It's just a decision doing A or B. So not being lean is energy level A, and being lean is energy level B. It's just a decision. It's not about discipline. It's just, okay, I do it. Once you do it, you realize it's easier for you. So why the hell they don't choose B all the time? It's not about discipline. It's just, isn't it stupidity if you do something harder than you can do just because you do it all the time? I mean, it's just energy. It's just a decision.
Can I summarize? Let me just summarize what Michael just said. So we're talking about discipline, but then Michael's saying it's not about discipline, it's about intelligence. It's about making a thoughtful decision, because it's just the same amount of energy to do it. It's actually less energy to do it correctly in a disciplined fashion than it is the other. So at the higher level, it's an intelligence decision.
But it takes discipline to make the right decision every time. You have to think about it, and you have to have that deliberate practice, and that's discipline.
But isn't discipline isn't what's driving discipline, Nick, intelligence? I mean, aren't you disciplined because you think to yourself, it's going to work, it's going to return a better? I'm thinking that Michael might have hit something, that the next level is in discipline's the byproduct of intelligence. I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Can I jump in for a second?
Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Two things come to mind. One of them is a word called duty. And duty is not discipline, but duty is the desire which drives you to contribute to something. Whether it's in the military or whether it's in an organization like a business, it's my duty to contribute to this place, and that's in itself discipline. But it's duty is something that comes from within, a desire from within. The other thing is conscientiousness and intentionality. If you leave something undone when you leave for the end of the day and something's undone, that was almost intentionally left that way. You need to switch it around and intentionally fix it. So those are two things that I really feel strongly about. If someone's going to contribute, they have to have a sense of duty behind that, because they want the boat, as Nick has had me read a book called The Boys in the Boat. What's best for the boat? What's best for the company? So that's my 2 cents on that.
But that is high level thinking. To be honest with you, that's a high level rational way of processing things. I don't know, but I want to make sure everyone's got a chance before we start going around. So Ashley, can you hold that for 1 second so we can get Glenn and Bruce to comment, and then we'll continue the dialogue. Is that okay? Glenn, go ahead. It's all yours.
I definitely would like to comment on that. But what I'm struggling with, well, first of all, I'd have to say the way the guys are buying into lean now is talk about my guys are what did you call it? Undisciplined lean or unobserved lean? Anyway, the guys are doing unsupervised lean.
Okay.
It's wonderful. I see them doing their morning meeting now, and I'm not always a part of it, and they're coming to me. Anyway, it's amazing. The frustration with my optimistic, happy crew is I wish they were better at talking about the gap between. They generally tell me all the happy story, and I get most excited about. I don't want to hear just the unhappy story, but I want to hear about the gap. I want to hear about, oh, we're doing all this great stuff, and we need to get from here to here. But I don't usually hear that second part of the story of like where the gap is.
So where we're going, and okay.
Well, where we're going and what we don't have. We had some big turnbacks lately, and I thought for all the talk about systems and processes, if you came here, you'd think these guys really have it dialed in. But if you gave ourselves an audit on, every product that we do, and do we really have a process and system for everything so that anybody out in the shop and company can go in and do that thing? I would say no. We probably would get a C in general, and an F on some things and an A+ on other things.
Very insightful, Glenn. I like it. I see what you're saying.
Right.
So Glenn, they're telling you, hey, look at all these cool wins we're getting, but this is where we are, and we have to be there, and we're plugging away at this long-term vision.
Right. Now, I think I'm wired to look at the gap, and I think, and I don't I don't like having to be the leader about being the guy to always looking for the gap. I'd like them to be looking at the win and the gap together.
Well, I think that's just a matter. Well, I'm not going to give an answer. No,
And
I think
then,
that's interesting.
And then another frustration I have with myself is, as a leader, I tend to apologize and be defensive about trying to lead and getting them to come along with me.
What does that mean? What does that look like?
Oh, I tend to be frustrated, like, come on, you guys, why don't you come along with it, rather than coming from a really positive standpoint and say, hey, here's the gap, guys, and here's where we're going. This is what I want you to do. This is what we need to, where we need to go. I want to lead as little as possible, and then when I do have to lead, I would like to be more of a positive leader rather than complaining about the gap. I don't want to be I don't want to. Sometimes I feel like I'm a professional complainer. So I don't want to be the professional complainer. I would like to be the professional gap analysis person and less describing and leading to where we need to go.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's a really insightful way of looking at things, Glenn. I don't think anyone's ever brought up that exact issue. Bruce, it's all yours.
All right. Thanks, Paul. I would say I've worked with a lot of companies, and the most difficult challenge, I would say, is worker engagement and inspiring fanatical passion amongst all the employees, which is kind of what Ashley said about re-engaging employees, and Michael also talked about unsupervised lean, and he kind of sounded like he was referring to lean being omnipresent, and I would say that's my biggest challenge as well. And the way that my strategy to deal with that is it's kind of a three-pronged approach. Number one, I think that with all the companies I've worked for, when we've succeeded in inspiring lean across the entire workforce from the shop floor to the senior level, the CEO has been passionate about lean, fanatical about it. And you can see it, Paul, with your company and how you lead, and I can see the emotion and the passion in Michael and Greg's and everyone on this panel's voice. It has to be there, or it's almost a showstopper if the CEO isn't engaged. So how do I get them engaged? When I work with the business, I just tell the truth. I tell real life lean success stories that I've been a part of. And if the 2,500 improvement ideas in 1 year with one company that I worked with, and lead times being reduced from 16 days down to 2, et cetera, et cetera. And if the CEO really isn't fanatical and over the top about lean, I don't want to do business with them. And there's just so many other companies.
Are you willing to make those abrupt decisions to them?
I have. I actually did that recently with an oil field company up here in Alberta, where the CEO, everyone on the leadership team was really excited about lean, but I sensed a tepid response from the senior leader, and so I declined to do business with them.
Good for you.
Because, so I don't think that you're going to succeed without passion at the top, and I overcome that by just being honest. I don't feel I'm a salesman at all. I've been real lucky to have some really cool wins, and I just share my wins. The other second way to overcome this making lean omnipresent or unsupervised lean is I have a rule of thumb that lean morale has to improve. Wherever I work, the morale has to go up, and I'm real serious about it. And I involve HR and tell them to send out employee surveys, because anybody that's been trained in lean realizes that you have to attack the process and not the people. And I've kind of nixed a lot of lean improvement ideas that made employees work faster or harder, because there's so many inefficiencies in a business. So when I work with a company, I'm constantly gauging and asking employees, are they liking their jobs? Paul, I shared with you that story.
Okay, so to summarize just real quick, so your biggest frustration is you don't have fanatical people engaged in lean, and one of the ways you measure that is whether or not the morale has gone up. And I like what you said. You nixed improvements that make employees work faster and harder. They should, at the very root level, feel better about their job.
Exactly. So yeah, my three-prong attack to inspiring fanatical engagement about lean is making sure that the top dog is passionate about it, and if he isn't, walking away. Number two, instilling a measurement system that measures the employee morale. Are they having more fun? Are they liking their jobs?
Very good, Bruce.
And then the third thing is creating a dashboard. I think that every employee has to come into work every day and know if they're winning and losing. They have to feel a part and be a part, not just feel a part, but be a part of the success or the failure of a business. So everywhere I go, I create lean dashboards and create healthy and fun and friendly competition between departments, between geographic locations, and that's how we inspired 2,500 improvement ideas in less than 12 months.
Bruce,
at my last
specifically, I love what you've said, but specifically, how would you put a tool to measure morale of individuals? How would you do that?
Human resources employee surveys. Also, it sounds a
little too corporate-y to me, Bruce. How do I get my head around that?
Okay, so here I agree, but that's what I sell. In other words, I'm not being a sleazy used car salesman and saying, I'll tell you if morale goes up. I challenge the corporate HR folks to measure it and then tell me to walk away if it's not working. But, Paul, all you have to do is walk around and ask people. Do you remember when I talked to you about a week ago about that customer services woman that confided to me that the company I was working with, she said, we're having a really, really slow month. I can't believe how slow it is because they were playing music trivia in the front office and laughing and joking, and it was their busiest month ever. But we had fixed the process, and she was nervous because nobody was running around with their hair on fire, and they were loving their jobs and laughing and joking. And she said, I think we're having a really slow month. But really what had happened was all the salesmen screaming for ETAs and customers angry about missed promise dates. All of those problems went away. So it seemed like it was nice and slow. And so
amazing.
I think, yeah, so I can tell when I'm working with a company if the morale is going up, but I also tell the leadership team to ask your HR folks to walk around and say, is Bruce Ennis doing a good job? Do you want him to stick around or do you want him to leave? And to me, Lean's dirty little secret is that it's so freaking easy. And there's so many inefficiencies in a business. You don't have to attack employees and look at how long their coffee breaks are or how long their lunch breaks are, because there's so much inefficiencies in the processes. You know, as anyone that's done a value stream map knows that most processes here in the Western world are probably 95% non-value added. And so you don't have to focus on beating up employees and making them work harder and faster.
Wow.
And I find that there's a lot of lean practitioners that kind of forget that message, and that's why lean can sometimes get a bad rap. They think it's
powerful stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go last. Go ahead.
I'm going to call Bruce to the mat on that one.
Go ahead.
The lean is not easy. So I don't know if anybody thinks it's easy. Lean may be simple, but it sure as hell isn't easy. So
why not, Nick?
I think it is, Nick.
Go ahead. I like this. This is good. Why? Let's talk about it.
Reads easy, plays hard.
Yeah, no. Lean is simple. It's not easy. It's just, you know, the good news is it just takes hard work. You know, the bad news is that it's hard work. It's hard work to implement change, and there's nothing easy about it. I've never worked so hard, you know, in my life, and I've been a hard worker my whole life.
And Bruce, what do you say to that?
I'm not saying, I love it. I totally dig it, but it is not easy.
Go ahead, Bruce. I want to get the retort back. This is good.
Yeah, this is like a cage match here. And actually, Nick, no,
I got to warn you, Bruce.
I'll show you easy.
Nick is a very big guy. He's a lot bigger than me.
He's a big ass motorcycle dude.
Okay.
Look out.
Go ahead.
No, I actually, Nick, I hear that all the time, and for me, it is real easy because when I really learned about lean, I was a Six Sigma black belt prior to focusing on lean, and so I practiced both disciplines. But when I really started studying about value-added time and non-value-added, and looking at processes and seeing, I just job shadowed a company's paint division where they thought they were losing money, and I studied and just did cycle times and queue times, and their entire workforce is actually painting for 30% 90% of the time and screwing around getting their carts and all their equipment ready and moving stuff out of the way to actually paint.
Right. Well, Bruce, I think Nick would contend that it's easy to find these huge wins that you're talking about. But I think Nick is saying is making up your mind to be consistent at implementing and building a lean culture is actually, you got to get in there and slug it out a little bit. You're digging a ditch, and maybe it isn't. You could break a sweat doing this. I think, Nick, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean it's easy to do a process map, and you can find waste is everywhere. We're all drowned in it. There's opportunities everywhere you look. There's unlimited amounts of easy to spot improvement opportunities. But getting an entire culture to to shift around and to be able to see waste and to feel a duty. I love that word, Lauren. I'm going to use that if you don't mind. But to feel that duty to continuously improve, continuously spot waste, continuously do something about it, make the improvement, make the change, sustain the change, and continue to do that day in and day out while they're still doing their job. That is not hard. That's not easy.
Nick, I'm going to interrupt. So, Nick, is that the equivalent of running a half marathon or a marathon in your mind? Is implementing lean the equivalent of running a 6K, a 12K, a marathon? What do you think? Can we quantify it that way?
I'll use a different analogy. It's the difference between being a parent or a grandparent.
Oh, well done.
I mean, Bruce gets to be the grandparent. He gets to come into companies.
He's a consultant.
Yeah, he gets to come into the companies and spoil the hell out of the kids, and then he goes home. He goes to the next place. You got to try being a parent. There's nothing easy about it.
This is only our second time out, and we're getting brutal already. Okay.
Then let's go on after this.
Hey, Nick, at the risk of this becoming a Jerry Springer episode, I'm going to disagree with you because I feel I'm doing the heavy lifting. A lot of times companies come in and they want me to drive the emotional and cultural change, and it really should be. You can tell with Paul, Paul drives the change because he's fanatical about it. So I would disagree. I'm not the grandparent. And when you said it's easy to spot, improvements. I didn't say it's easy to spot improvements. I said it's easy to drive change if you make things better. That paint department I was working with last week. I do things with employees, not to them. I don't tell them this is what we're going to do. I get them. We all work through it together, and they're bouncing off the walls with excitement to help redesign new carts so they're painting more and screwing around, getting their tools ready less.
Bruce,
I've got everyone jacked.
This is what I would say to you, Bruce. I totally agree with you in that you can have moments where you get that engagement, and I get that all the time as well. And so I totally agree with you. But I have to say, when I listen to Nick a little bit, I would say that analogy, whether or not you're a grandparent or a parent, is immaterial at this point in the game. But I think that being a parent, if I was to describe being a parent, I would not characterize it as being easy, although there are fundamental principles that you must follow through with, which make it a much more enjoyable task. But it does require this consistent. You have to be the heavy sometimes. You have to be the nice guy, and I see that side of it, and I haven't shared you what my struggle is, and you'll see that I would agree with it's a pain in the ass sometimes. I don't know how else to put it. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay. So Nick, Nick, let me finish that with the words of AC/DC. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Bruce, I love one saying from you today was, I attack the process, not the people. Mm-hmm. That is something really, which I wrote down, which is pretty phenomenal here for me. And you asked about measurements. Paul disagreed with that, all the technical stuff. Measure it by the loves you have in the shop every day. And there's a really interesting thing was going on last week, and Ashley, he told me that they went to our shop and they part of the morning meeting and they've heard my people saying or speaking, talking to each other in a total different language. So they didn't catch a word. But without knowing the verbs and the words and stuff, they totally got what's going on by the way they were talking, right? Ashley, you told me that, and then that was the one. You heard, you felt that people were talking about a solution and not about a problem, and that is so phenomenal. If you want to come to my shop and see a morning meeting in a total different language, that makes a difference. It's nonverbal.
I would say everybody here gets lean. And our whole aim is you're trying to get all your employees in your company to get lean. And back to the, is it easy and hard? To me, it's really easy to understand the concepts of lean. It's really hard to get somebody else to understand that concept, trying to teach them.
Or is it hard, Ashley, because our methodology is not as effective?
Well,
that's what I'm kind of wondering about.
Possibly. I mean, everybody has the myriad of different problems with the frustrations, the same we're talking about today. Some people are good communicators, and it's easy for them to teach people in that way and get them to understand it. Some people can't articulate themselves in an easy manner, so find it hard to teach people. But what I've been trying to teach my supervisor for the past 2 years, who's been on the lean journey with us, who makes the improvements, holds a meeting, and has gained in confidence and everything, credit due to him, but Michael achieved more in 2 minutes than I achieved in 2 years, just by the sheer fact of him witnessing how Michael's company was run and how his people spoke to each other. That made the impact that they had at Michael's of seeing it rather than me trying to describe it. That was phenomenal.
Okay. Now, Glenn, go ahead, Glenn.
Well, I have to say I'm on board with Bruce. I think if you're going to depend on discipline and it's the leader's role to bring the employees along with their thinking, and when they buy into it, they're going to want to do it. And when they see their life get easier, they want to do it. And that's what I'm seeing. My frustration is when I see it so clearly, and I haven't been able to get them to bring it along. It's my job to come up with the training, the systems that
facilitate
with the glasses and stuff. Right. You need to have like I think. Everyone here has, they do audits. You put in a system to help the thing come along. But I think it needs to be in a positive way where people want to do it. I know I'm very undisciplined. I do what's easiest for me, and I go along with the lean thing.
Right. Okay. Lauren?
I'm not saying this very well, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of responsibility on us to do a good job. I had to have the discipline it wasn't discipline. I had to have the idea that it was worthwhile to fly a bunch of my guys out to see you, Paul. And those guys bought into it.
Yeah, I kind of tend to think that was an intelligent decision, not because you came to see us, but just in general. You said, hey, look, if I invest this amount of time, the return on investment is going to be here. I wouldn't say it's a disciplined decision. It's Lauren, go ahead.
I would say if you're not getting what you want, then I would relook at how you're rolling it out to your people. Because if it was a game and they were getting a benefit out of it, then it should be fun.
Right. Lauren, go ahead.
I'd say it's all about the end game too. I mean, the end game is for it to be easy, so that people don't have to struggle to achieve lean actions. The implementation is the hard part because you have to make a construct for everything to fit inside. But once it's that hard work has been done, the idea is that you can have a shop full of people or office full of people who are no longer struggling, and that's the easy part. That's the part where the goal is to make their jobs easier.
Let me say this. So I think when we say this hard, easy, I don't want to get into this too much, but the bottom line is when something's easy, there's not resistance. When something's difficult, generally there's some resistance or there's some friction in the whole game. And I think in general, as a general rule, lean eliminates friction and makes things flow easily. That doesn't mean, though, that you're going to constantly bump up against things, as Nick said, that are arduous, whether or not they're recording the tack times or consistent at 3S, and those points create some friction or difficulty level. So all of a sudden at that moment, lean is not easy. It requires some discipline. It requires some fortitude to get the result. Bruce.
I thought that was well put, Paul. I agree. I think, Nick, we're not necessarily disagreeing. For sure, any kind of cultural change is an absolute mountain of work. And from my perspective, though, it's really fun. I'm 52 and my whole life has been involved in quality, and I've been trained and been charged the task of deploying ISO 9000 and total quality management and Six Sigma and statistical process control, and on and on and on and on. And what I find really cool about lean is it's freaking easy. and so when you can impart to a welder good time and bad time, which is how I what I call cycle time and queue time, and kind of awaken them to, they're busting their ass all day, but they really only did about 15% of their day was work. And then you work with them and it kind of becomes fun. And I have my steel-toed boots on a lot more than I have dress shoes on. And so I'm I was in the paint booth and in the welding bay with a welding mask on, feeling their pain and helping them redesign jigs. And so it kind of becomes fun because they see the prize. But you're right, Nick, it is a mountain of work.
Okay.
Paul, what's your problem, buddy?
My problem is interesting, and it's one of my biggest issues. So every day we come to work. I have my little wipe-off board here. Can people see this okay?
Yeah,
so
it's shiny.
Here we go, 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Here's our work day. And we all come to work, and we need to get work done. So this is my little line here that goes across here. But what really happens at work is this. We have all these big emotional swings and these people going through all this BS in their life, whether they're texting their wives or their husbands, whether or not they can't pay their rent. They've got all this crap going on in their life. And I'm supposed to run a company and develop and add value for my customer. And meanwhile, I've got all this bullshit going on, frankly, with all my employees. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? And so one of the things that I've been wrestling with, this has been my struggle for the last 4 weeks here, is, there's a lot of dysfunction in the world. It's almost staggering how much people have destroyed their life with all the crap that's going on. And so now I'm supposed to run this great lean company, and yet I got all these people with all this crap going on in their life. I'm going, how do I manage that? And it's been the wrestling point of my heart these last 4 weeks. And the way I've started to deal with it is I've taken the offenders or the people that are having these problems, and I brought them into my conference room where we are right now, and I've said, look at, I'm not going to say the name because they might be listening to I said, you need to function at a high level outside of work if you ever want to get anywhere in life. And you go home and you're playing video games for 2.5 hours on your computer. You're adding no value. You're actually destroying your life. You need to start making quantitative improvements in what you do outside of work, not just come to work and think you're in this Disneyland environment and everybody's improving. I want to see it outside of work because your dysfunction is affecting our company. And so I've been working on a personal level with people on their personal lives outside, and I almost feel like that might be the next level of duty that I need to start working with my people on. A little bit what Greg was talking about connecting with their people. So there's my crap. I call this crap. I'm tired of dealing with crap, and now instead of just flushing it, I'm going to start working on how to get rid of it in people's lives.
Change the people or change the people.
Yeah, okay. but yeah, exactly. So first I'm going to try to change the people, and then if I can't do that, Lauren, I'm going to change the people. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Go ahead, Michael.
Paul, you once taught me that we have to learn from history, right?
Right.
To understand everything. So take it this way. As far as I know, there was no time in human beings' history that we had a middle class. There was always master and slave, always rich and poor, always.
That's correct.
Just the second World War brought a kind of like a middle class up, and this is going to be re-regulating, obviously. So the middle class is dying; it's going this way and that way. So maybe there is no no way for you to really change that. Maybe we have to see if we can get those 2% of the people who got it. So my after all question about all that discussion today is, how in the world can I wake the sleeping lion? That's all I want to know, nothing else.
And I would say it's Nick's answer. You have to be a parent. You have to be consistent. You have to be the heavy sometimes. Sometimes you're going to be the fun, jovial guy. But I'm finding all of a sudden I'm stepping in, as Nick said, the parenting role. I've been talking about lean to all of you for so long, and all of a sudden now my new role is I'm going to start parenting some of these people and saying, look, you are destroying your life. You cannot function at this level and expect to come to work and work in this dynamic lean culture when you got all this shit going on in your life. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right. But I don't want to be. Excuse me. I don't want to be the truck all the time. I want to be a trailer one time. I just want to. Get pulled by my people. And this works. This absolutely works.
Right.
I mean, I need a recipe for that.
Yeah.
Come on, go ahead.
Right.
Good.
I'm going to try and make this point again.
And we're just so you know, we're coming up on 1 hour, and this has been phenomenal.
Okay.
I've got a lot out of it, so let's keep
very
going.
quick. It's just that all I'm saying is you need to set up a situation for success. The discipline part. See this part? See this right here?
Yeah, that's discipline.
See this? I've been trying to lose weight for I don't know how many years.
Me too.
It takes discipline, and it's my duty to lose weight and extend my life. And I'm trying to set up my life situation where that might work out. But I know to say, all right, now I'm going to go on, I'm going to eat less, and I'm going to exercise more out of something in my head. Something else has to change. I haven't figured it out for myself, but I have figured it out for my company. And what I figured out is that I have to set up a game that people want to play that leads to success. And it's because people want to go there, not because I'm parenting or I'm asking them to be disciplined.
I like the idea of setting up a game
myself. Why would I expect them to be disciplined?
Okay, so let's let Ron, you've heard us all muse for the last hour. Any thoughts? You want to chime in on stuff?
I've been making notes here, and first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to this. This has been incredible. I mean, anyhow, the thing that keeps resonating in my mind, and Paul, you kind of just hit on it, is something that I've been practicing Lean, Six Sigma, whatever you want to call it, for many, many years. I've run thousands of events over the years, and I've seen tremendous success. I've seen tremendous failure, but it hasn't been until probably this last year that I think that I've really truly understood what Lean is all about. And it came from my friend, and Paul knows him very well, John Miller. Who's my business partner and mentor and whatnot. John was raised in Japan and so forth.
And one of my original senseis, John and Brad.
Yeah, and what it is, gentlemen, is is lean easy or hard? Is the wrong question. Let's be blunt. Quit wasting your time trying to understand that. What we don't understand, myself included, running this company, Gamba Academy, is that lean is about people. That's it. That's what lean is. I can teach my 11-year-old daughter can come in and teach you how to value stream map. I mean, she really can, right? I mean, we have hundreds of videos at Gamba Academy on various tools and techniques, and they're very important. I don't mean to poo-poo on tools and techniques, because you have to know how to do certain things. But respect for people, and this is what John taught me. Respect for people we hear about, right? Toyota, respect for people is one of the pillars. Problem is, John explained to me that it's actually a very poor translation from the original Japanese, and that it's actually not respect for people. It should be respect for humanity. You see, the humanness of people. And that's what it's about, guys. It's not about, discipline or standards or, how we're going to see waste and is lean easy or not. It's about people. And once we understand that, and I'm missing all the guys' names here, and so I apologize.
It's
but one
okay.
gentleman talking about, going and having dinner or lunch with his employees. Greg.
Greg.
That's what lean is.
Yeah.
You see?
It's all about people.
It's it. It's all about people. right?
It's about respecting
That's what makes it-
humanity.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And is that easy or hard? I don't know.
It's both.
It's definitely,
love and it's-
thoughtful.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's
Love and truth. Yeah, I said love. My personal ministry is, I play the role of the theologian and the psychologist, among other things, and the mentor. And I focus on love, truth, and personal growth.
Yeah. Amen. And that's what it is, gentlemen. I mean, and I'm far from perfect at Gemba Academy. We have our many sins ourselves, and we're a smaller company than you guys, but it's to say it doesn't matter. It's about autonomy, right? It's about trusting your people, empowering your people, helping your people, caring for your people. And when you do that, I think that success will happen. It can't not happen when you've done that. So if you find yourself pushing on a rope, so to speak, you got to probably step back and, was it Walt Kelly that said, we have found the enemy and he is us, right? And that's probably what we're all struggling with here.
Profound. I mean, incredible, Ron. I'm so glad you were a part of the group discussion here, because I think that really brought it to a very high point. Any comments, you guys?
Well, I have a number. Can I do a quick summary?
Yeah,
I have four comments.
Everyone, let's do really quick so everyone gets a chance to summarize.
I actually wrote this down because I think it means a lot. I tell people, one, we're in the people business. We just happen to make stuff as well.
Good.
The other thing is, one, what we do to make things work is have a diligent adherence to our daily practices. And our goal currently is to make sure we keep it fresh and totally engaging. Second one is a total and complete respect with everybody, and absolutely tolerate no disrespect between employees. I just let somebody go who is one of our hardest workers, but he creates toxicity in the environment, and I just won't tolerate it. And I really need him in terms of labor. The third thing is you guys talking about two different things. One, Bruce, you're talking about coming in and having people do Kaizen events, mini Kaizen stuff, changing their environment. It's easy, it's tangible. Get it. When you try to bring in things that are a little bit more abstract, it's more difficult. Who wants to count some frickin' time? It's not fun. Okay, so we're talking about anything that's pointy-headed is harder to change, because people's behaviors are what we're talking about changing. And as anyone who's read the 4 Disciplines of Execution knows, it's hard enough to change our own behavior now, let alone a group of other people's. And so my take is we fight just like the plague.
Let's keep rolling. Anybody more comments?
You lose me?
Nick?
Yeah.
We lost you, Paul.
Okay.
Can you
We
hear
lost Paul.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh, okay, but you can hear me fine. So Nick, go ahead. If you can't see me, that's okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, we practice the respect for people, and I know Bruce and I got on. I don't think it was about easy or hard. I think it was that we were just using that as the kind of the impetus for what it's much deeper than that. And we all have learned it's there's no bad people, just bad processes. Making things fun, and we get all that. And the rewarding part of it is when you see everybody get so excited and doing all these incredible things. Like I'm surrounded by people doing incredible things every day. It's amazing. It's the juice that keeps me going. But and that Ron, the respect for people, and it's all about the people. And I think that respect for humanity and respect for people is, I think we get too, everyone, we all look different. Every one of us has a unique fingerprint. And for some reason, everybody tends to believe that everybody thinks the same way. Like, why would our internal organs be the same when everything about us externally is completely different? Every brain is completely different. It took me a while to realize that, but everybody thinks totally different. And I think that's the part where I was saying is it's is what makes it. And I don't want to use the word hard again, but it's, you're teaching every single person, and every single person is different, and you have to change your approach and how you teach and everything, and what they do and how they do it. It's every single thing is different. I guess that's that respect for humanity part you were talking about, Ron. Every single person is uniquely different, and
Cool. So, Paul, you're at the? We still have your audio, Paul?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
we can hear you. I just want to make sure. I was going to take over and run this thing.
Yeah, no problem.
You keep running it, Paul.
Okay.
Okay, you got it, buddy.
So, anyways, any more comments? Anybody want to make any brief comments as we close this out? Because I'm walking away having learned and thought more deeply about some very important issues.
Well, my only thought is that listening to all of you is I'm learning from all of you whether or not it's an art, it's not a science, and I'm really think this is a great forum. So it's wonderful being a part of it.
Is it possible, Glenn, that I'm reading a book right now called The Science of Success, which incidentally happens to be the all-time best book I've ever read. It's the story of Charles Koch, Koch. He has the largest privately held company in the world, or if not the largest, one of the largest. He's one of the richest men in the world, and he is a lean fanatic. And a friend of mine knows him and turned me on to an article. I read the article and happenstancely found out that he had written a book, started reading the book, and I was so blown away I couldn't believe it. And the name of the book is called The Science of Success. And my point to you, Glenn, is it's both an art and a science. It's both a discipline and a deeply emotional endeavor. And that is maybe something that a lot of businesses don't like to deal with, the emotional side, the people side, the respect for humanity side. And I think it requires both disciplines to be highly effective. No different than understanding physics, the laws of physics, which are, the material effects on things, and then quantum physics, which is more cerebral and thinking about what the potential in things are. So you have these two different elements that need to be carefully balanced as we approach our companies. That's just a thought that I'm having.
Great. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, can I, Nick? Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nick? Okay. Yes. Sorry. So, you know that I love you like a brother, but I kind of disagree with the fact that you say that everyone is totally different. Yes, we all think differently. That's true. But if you take a look at Abraham Maslow and the hierarchy of needs, you will figure out that we all want to grow. We all have one thing, and we try to find a valve to grow. So some people do it in their church, some in their office, some in their lawn, whatever, Christmas lights, whatever comes along. They want to be super, they want to be cool, and we just have to help them. Okay, my summary of today is one big thing. My grow people here today is that I'm a part of a group, worldwide group of people who have the same problem than I have. So that makes me proud that I'm not the only one, and it's so powerful to have you guys here in Germany right now with me and give me all that input. I've learned a lot. I've learned a thing, that we have to not fight the people. We have to fight the problems and the processes, and that lean is all about humanity. And I will definitely have more power for tomorrow's morning meeting. And I really want to thank you guys all. That and you're all invited to come to my shop and hear a silence morning meeting for you guys.
I love it, Michael. Well put on the summary. Any more comments, you guys?
Yeah, we had just quickly. It's been 2 years since we started sort of doing lean, and we had our first lean morning meeting, and it was my daughter Katie at 5 years old that held the first morning meeting, and she came in today. She's 7 now. She led the morning meeting again. And even she commented at the end of it about how everyone was looking at her, they weren't looking at her feet, and she saw the difference between the morning meeting today with everybody I've got to everybody we had when we started on day one, about how engaged everybody was with her, apart from her just speaking. So at 7 years old, she could see the difference that we've had in 2 years. So it's pretty powerful for us.
And there you go with Bruce. Bruce's comment about morale. So that's excellent, Ashley. Any more comments? Okay, well, you guys, amazing. I have a lot to think about. I've got a big speaking gig coming up on Thursday and Friday, and I'm going to definitely be utilizing what I've learned from all of you as I go forward. And I appreciate your time, and we'll go from there, and we'll see you maybe in about 8 weeks, because I'm going to be out of the country for about 8 weeks. Okay?
Got it.
All right.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you.
Great job.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, guys.